Go grab that bag of commercial chicken feed off your porch and turn it over and read the back of it. Go on. Half of it you cannot even pronounce, and the part you can is soybean meal and a list of mystery leftovers ground into brown pellets that look nothing like food. You cannot tell a kernel of corn from a wood chip in there. And here is what ought to stop you cold. Your eggs are made out of whatever is in that bag. An egg is only as good as what the hen eats. So if you are feeding her cheap mystery dust, you are eating cheap mystery dust. One scrambled egg at a time. Now the feed mills, the folks who print that label, would love for you to believe that mixing your own feed is complicated, that it takes a chemistry degree and a barn full of ingredients. It does not. You can make a healthier feed than anything in that bag out of just 3 real things you can buy at Tractor Supply, and do it for less money per pound. Stay with me, because right in the middle of this, I am going to show you the one mistake that makes a homemade feed leave your hens hungry and off their lay. The reason folks try it and go running back to the bag. And I saved the most important piece of all, the thing that actually hardens up your eggshells, for the very end. Before we go on, do me one small favor. Drop a comment and tell me what state you are keeping chickens in and what you are feeding your flock right now. Straight bagged feed, or you already mix your own. Just those 2 things, your state and what is in the trough right now. I read every one. My grandmother Ada kept the hens behind my grandfather Walt's cattle place in southern Ohio, and she never bought a bag of ready-made feed in her life, because back then there near about was not one. I am thinking of the years around 1959. She had 3 barrels in the feed room, and every morning she scooped a little out of each one into a bucket and mixed it with her hand. 3 plain things. That was the whole of it. And her hens laid brown eggs with yolks, the color of an orange, right through the year. I did not understand as a boy why it was just those 3. I understand it now, and I am going to hand it to you. But first, hear quick what that bag is really costing you. A sack of layer feed runs $18, $22 now and climbing, and most of it is the cheapest filler the mill could find, bulked up with soy and sprayed to hit a number on the label. That is why a bagged bird lays a pale, thin egg, while a hen on real food lays one with a yolk deep orange and standing tall. You are paying $20 for a bag of mostly nothing, and paying for it again in weak eggs on your own plate. The mill does not sell nutrition, it sells tonnage. So let me get right to it, because it is simpler than they ever let on. A laying hen needs only 3 things out of her feed: energy to run her body and keep her warm, protein to build the egg, and a little fat to keep the whole bird strong. My grandmother's 3 barrels covered all 3, and every one of them is a plain thing you can buy off the farm store shelf and name with your eyes closed. Here they are, and what each one does. So here are the 3 ingredients, plain and simple, and what each one is doing. The first is whole grain, and the cheapest good one is whole oats. You can get a big sack of oats at any farm store for around $13. And oats bring the energy that keeps a bird going, along with a fair bit of protein of their own, more than corn has. If you are somewhere it gets bitter cold in the winter, you can swap in some whole corn, because corn burns hot and helps a bird hold her body heat through a hard freeze. Grain is your base, the biggest part of the mix. The second ingredient is black oil sunflower seed. At the farm store, you will find it over in the wild bird section. And do not feel funny about that, because a chicken is a bird. Folks call it boss for short. This little black seed is your fat and a good shot of protein, and it is the thing that puts a hard shine on a hen's feathers and helps her hold up through a molt. A hen eating sunflower seed looks glossy and healthy, and a lot of keepers swear it lifts their laying too. The third ingredient is dry field peas. The split peas or whole peas you find in the same aisle as beans. This is your protein anchor, and it is the one most folks leave out and should not. Grain and seed alone will not get a laying hen the protein she needs. The peas do. A legume like this runs high in protein, and it is what pulls your whole mix up to the number a laying hen is looking for, which is right around 16%. The University of Kentucky Extension has laid this out for years, that a laying hen does her best work on a feed of about 16 to 18% protein and free choice calcium alongside it. Grain, sunflower seed, and peas, mixed right, land you square in that window. Now here is where most folks go wrong, and this is the part I promised you. There are 2 ways people wreck a homemade feed, and both come from the same place, which is chasing that protein number the wrong way. The first mistake is going too heavy on the grain because it is cheap, dumping in mostly corn and oats and just a handful of the rest. Do that, and your protein falls way down under what a layer needs. and inside a few weeks your hens go quiet, they stop laying, and you blame the homemade feed when the trouble was the mix. The second mistake is the opposite, panicking about protein and pouring in far too much sunflower seed to force the number up. But sunflower seed is high in fat, and a bird stuffed with too much fat gets soft and lazy and does not lay any better for it. Here is the trick that fixes both. You let the peas do the protein work, not the seed. You keep your grain as the big base for energy, a good measure of peas for the protein, and only a moderate amount of sunflower seed for the fat and the shine. Get that balance and you hit 16% honest, without starving the bird or drowning her in fat. And here is the other half of that trick, the part that takes the worry right off your shoulders. Do not lose sleep chasing that 16% down to the decimal. If your hens free range and hunt bugs and worms, if you toss them your kitchen scraps and garden trimmings, they are picking up extra protein all day long that never shows up in your figuring. So if your homemade mix lands close to 16, you are fine. A hen is not a spreadsheet. She is a bird on the ground doing what a bird does. So let me give you the whole recipe, layer by layer, so you can mix a batch this weekend. You will want a clean tote or a metal can with a lid to mix and store it in. Number 1, the grain. For every 10 pounds of feed you are making, start with about 6 pounds of whole oats, or oats and a little corn if it is winter. That is your base. Pour it in first. Number 2, the peas. Add in about 2 pounds of dry field peas for every 10 pounds. This is your protein, so do not shortchange it. Number 3, the sunflower seed. Add about 2 pounds of black oil sunflower seed per 10 pounds, and no more, because that is plenty of fat. So it is 6 parts grain, 2 parts peas, 2 parts sunflower seed. Pour them in and mix it well with your hands or a scoop, turning it over and over so it does not settle out by weight, and there is your feed. Scale it up as big as your flock needs, keeping that same 6, 2, and 2. Now I know what some of you are thinking. I have fed the bag for 20 years, and my hens seem fine. Why change? Or, my hens already quit laying and I am afraid switching feed will make it worse. Or, I am just no good at this and I will get the protein wrong. None of that shuts the door on you. If your hens are only just getting by on the bag, wait until you see what real food does for them. The eggs alone will tell you inside a month. If your flock has gone off lay, a fresh whole feed with real protein is one of the surest ways to bring them back, not set them back. And if you are worried about getting it exactly right, I just took that worry off you. Close to 16 is fine. You cannot really fail at this. And now the most important piece, the one I saved for the end. And it is the thing that separates a hen that lays strong, hard-shelled eggs from one whose eggs crack in your hand. It is calcium. And here is what nobody tells the beginner. You cannot just mix enough calcium into the feed to cover it, because a laying hen needs a great deal of calcium to build a shell. Far more than the rooster or the young birds eating out of the same trough need. And too much in the feed would hurt them, so the old farmers did it a smarter way. You keep the calcium separate, off to the side, free choice, in its own little dish, and you let each hen take exactly what her own body calls for. The best calcium there is happens to be free. It is your own eggshells. You save them, let them dry, crush them up so they do not look like an egg anymore, and set them out in that dish. A bit of crushed oyster shell from the farm store does the same job. The hen that is laying walks over and takes what she needs, and the ones that do not need it leave it be. It is the smartest, cheapest thing you will ever do for your flock, and it costs you not 1 red cent, because you were throwing those shells in the trash anyway. That one habit, calcium-free choice on the side, is what gives you a shell you can hardly crack instead of one that caves in the carton. And while you are at it, set out a little dish of grit too, plain coarse sand or the bagged kind, because a hen has no teeth and she grinds her feed with grit down in her gizzard. Without it, even good feed goes half-wasted straight through her. Feed, calcium, and grit each in its own place, and you have got the whole system the mill spent a fortune teaching you to forget you ever knew. So let me lay the whole thing out one more time, plain and in order. For every 10 pounds of feed, mix 6 pounds of whole grain like oats for energy, 2 pounds of dry field peas for protein, and 2 pounds of black oil sunflower seed for fat and shine. Turn it well so it does not settle, and store it dry with a lid. Do not chase the protein number to the decimal, because free-ranging and kitchen scraps make up the difference. And set out 2 little dishes on the side, one of crushed eggshell or oyster shell for calcium, and one of grit, both free choice. That is the entire thing. 3 real ingredients you can name: better than any bag for less money, and eggs that will remind you what an egg is supposed to be. You did not lose this knowledge because it stopped working. You lost it because there is no profit in you knowing that 3 plain sacks from the farm store beat the fancy bag. A hen fed on real food that you mixed yourself is a hen that does not need the mill at all, and that is the last thing they want. You were not foolish for trusting the bag. You were just never shown the 3 simple things your own great-grandmother scooped out of 3 barrels every morning. Now, you have got them back. So do 2 things for me before you go. First, go back to that comment box and tell me what state you are in and what you are feeding your flock right now. I read every one, and sometimes your question turns into the next video. And second, if you would rather know exactly what goes into your food than trust a stranger's brown bag, come along and sit on the fence with us. This is not about following a channel. It is a porch full of neighbors remembering the old ways one at a time. Next time I am going to show you how to grow a 4th ingredient for that feed for free. A tray of tender green sprouts you can raise on your kitchen counter in a week. No dirt and no sun. That gives your flock fresh greens in the dead of winter when the ground is froze solid. Most folks have never seen it done. I will show you next time. Before I let you go, I think about my grandmother Ada standing in that feed room in the cold, scooping from 3 barrels into 1 bucket, mixing it with a bare hand, feeding a whole flock on food she could name with her eyes closed. She used to say that you cannot get a good egg out of a bad bag. Feed them real food, and they will feed you right back. Keep it plain, and I will see you next time.